Right, this is an interesting video, and this gives me a window into what this guy is going to be like as a paranormal investigator. Some of the things that he comes up with is pretty good when it comes to paranormal investigating and paranormal research, actually. So let's get into it. Some of you may be familiar with who this person is. It's Master Shredder.
Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the equipment that I use and a little bit about investigations.
I'm all about paranormal equipment. I'm very interested to see what he has. And you would be surprised that some of the equipment that he has, I have as well. So
I think it's pretty good stuff to know. And you know, there's several different kinds of investigations that you can go on. You might have a commercial investigation. It might be residential. It might be an investigation in your home. You know, a home setting where you might do some prayer and meditation. It'd be like a seance setting. And it's good to know what to use, when to use. You know, it's just as important to experiment and try different things in different places. But I pulled some of my stuff out and I just wanted to go over some of it and show you guys.
I can't wait to see this.
Probably one of my most main pieces of equipment would be the Sony recorder.
Got one of those. For some reason I can't get it to work. Some people say that, you know, forget the Panasonic RR-DR60 and get one of those. I did get one of those. It's hard to get over in these parts of the world, but you know, Sony recorders are good recorders, and this one was very interesting. For some reason I can power mine up, but I can't. When I press record, nothing happens, you know. But a pretty good recorder, actually.
This is the Sony ST25, and I've seen a lot of people use these. You know, the old Sony recorders. I don't know if they use less filters on them, but these you can definitely pick up some good EVP with these. You can set the bit rate, the sample rate on them. A lot of people like to set them at the lowest quality setting possible. I've experimented with setting them at the highest quality. I've gotten EVPs at both settings. It just depends. And this.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reasons for setting the recording at a lower setting is to have some of that static noise, and research over the years show that there's a big possibility that EVPs stick to background audio support, and these old recorders do have a lot of background noise and stuff, and you know, static noise, and that increases when you go lower on the bit rate. And yeah, here's the problem: the lower you go, the more static interference comes in, and you possibly get more EVPs. But when it comes down to putting that recording onto the computer, if you have a higher bitrate recording, it's kind of easier to clean up. Then again, if you have different recorders and you put one on a low setting, it may not necessarily be suitable for a different recorder to put it on a lower setting, because I have some on lower settings and some of them on higher settings, because it suits the recorder.
This is the ST25. They also have the ST10, which I think is just as good of a recorder. And it just depends on what you're working with. It depends on if spirit wants to speak. They both definitely pick up EVP. You can see they look identical. The ST25, it has an added feature on it. It has a voice up feature.
I've seen that, yeah.
You know, so that's just one more option you have, you know, for playing back. And the only problem I have with these recorders is I have a problem uploading the audio to my computer. I know there's a way around it, probably updating the software, but that's something I'm still trying to figure out. And that's the Sony recorders, and I experiment with a couple different kinds. This one here is the ICD B16, another older Sony recorder.
All right. It's close. I got a P17. There we go. Not quite the same, but almost. You can see it there. It's almost the same.
And they all work good, guys. Most important thing is just getting out there and trying.
Exactly.
Just getting out there and doing it. I like this one too. The Sony. This is the B25. I like this one on the back because you can set it different play speeds, slow, normal, and fast.
I have something similar to, well, it's not, it doesn't look like anything like that, but it has the feature on the back. But it's a weird little recorder. It only takes one AAA battery. It's the ICD-56. It's a little round thing like this, and it's got the little fast and slow speed at the back there, you know. But it's a little metal case too. It's an interesting little recorder, you know.
Really good recorder. It's pretty sleek. You know, you can put it in your pocket. This one's really good for burst sessions. If you're going to be asking questions and stopping, listening back, asking questions, stopping, listening back, because you can actually fast forward through things that you don't need to hear. You can slow it down. You know, you're gonna hear different things at different speeds, and that's another thing to think about when you're playing with the sample rate or the bit rate. The lower the quality that you recorded at, the more noise that you're gonna hear.
That's right, yeah.
And the more noise that you hear, your brain's gonna make words out of that, which you don't want.
That's exactly.
You want to hear what's really there. That's why I think it's good to have it set at a higher bit rate a lot of times, so you get a good quality EVP. You might get less, but if it's good, hard evidence, if it's true evidence, then that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, like, I put all my EVPs onto a computer, and with the lower bit rate, you've got a little bit more work to do to try and clean it up sometimes when there is an EVP embedded in the noise and that. When it's on a higher bit rate, you got a little bit more to work with because the quality is higher. Because when you go start cleaning things up, there is a risk of distorting the audio, and it's really apparent when the bit rate is low, you know. But if you have a higher bit rate and you get a good clear EVP, you don't have to do anything with it at all. You just enhance the audio and you can hear it, and then just normalize it in Audacity, and it's fine the way it is. I don't like to mess too much with EVPs, but Shredder here has a number of different recorders, and that is good. It means that you can experiment rather than having just one or two recorders and depending on those. You know, a lot of people have their favorites, and so, a lot of the time they're not exactly the same. You know, people have their preferences. There is a recorder that a lot of people like to use, and I don't have it here at the moment, but it's a Olympus 4100. There's a 4100 and there's a 4100 PC. Have we got one here? No, we don't. But some say that that is, as good as a recorder you can get. You know, when you think of notorious recorders like the Panasonic DR60, which has its flaws when it comes to picking up EVPs, but there is the Olympus 4100. That is a big hit with a lot of paranormal investigators, and they were about £15, and I think you can get them in the States as well. So you buy a couple of different recorders and experiment around with them, and you will find your best.
This is another recorder I use a lot. I don't use this, the Tascam DR05. I don't use this for burst sessions so much. This recorder,
I have one of those, and actually they're kind of cheap for the money, for what they are. They're a professional recorder. I actually use that to power my parabolic microphone for picking up picking up songs. I have a glass parabolic dish, and I connect the microphone from the parabolic dish to something like that, or something like this. I kind of prefer this because I just find it easier to use. It's the handy recorder H4n from Zoom, and a lot of paranormal investigators like the H1, the little smaller one, and that. I just find the H1 very plasticky. This here it's got a metal case, it's kind of strong and stuff like that. I do have a Tascam, but I mainly use that to power parabolic microphone on a location that pick up the slightest sound. The sound quality on these things are absolutely amazing. You could do EVP sessions if you had a radio in the nearby with a static station on it, just to have a little bit of background audio support. Just to add that little bit of background audio support for EVPs to stick to. Good recorder, like. And good recording audio for videos too. It's got a number of different uses.
I usually will turn on and let it run. And this guy picks up everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can set it, the settings on it, and it's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive recorder. And another reason I like this recorder is it comes with a micro SD. So anything on it is stored right there. And
yeah, it's very easy. Just take out the card, put it into the computer, then all your audio just comes up, and you can store it to the computer. No messing around with cables and anything like that. It's just easy, Good quality sound from that recorder too is pretty good,
And you have all your evidence right there.
Yeah.
I think you can pick these up on eBay for brand new for probably $80. And it's really good recorder.
Yeah, around 69 English pounds.
Also, if you're starting out, and you're going to do an investigation, you've never been there before, it's good to get a baseline reading of the location that you're at. If it's a commercial location or if it's a residential, you want to go around and you want to check the baseline temperature. You want to check the baseline EMF levels of the house. So you're going to use an EMF detector, K2.
I have one of them too. When you're doing an investigation and it's dark and stuff, it's handy because it's got lights on it where the values are. For baseline readings, I use A tri-field meter, which I can't show you right now, no, but it's one of those expensive analog, the older readers, and it's a tri-axis reader. This reader right here is another popular one, which actually will give you your readings in milligauss or microtesla. You can set it to whatever you want. You also get temperature in that, and it's a small little reader. And this was about, I think it was £13, and it gives you the digital values, and it's more accurate than the K2. It's because it's got a digital readout, but it won't light up like the K2 if you're in the dark and you want to use it as a trigger object. This the recorder that I just showed you does give an alarm sound when it goes to a certain value and it lights up on that, but it has to get to that value to do that. The K2, it lights up at each value, and it's good for the dark kind of thing. My tri-field meter has got no light at all, so it's difficult to use in the dark, but if you got light, even a bit of dim light and that, you can still read it. It is an extremely accurate device. And the newer version is actually digital, but the one that I have is the original tri-field meter, which is an analog one. Is a pretty good piece of kit actually. But yeah, the K2 is very handy because of the lights and that, and you can see it better and that.
They take 9-volt batteries, and you can also use a temperature gun.
Got one of them too. Not exactly like that, but I got one.
That's going to tell you your baselines around whatever location you're at. And if you can, it's good to do your homework on the location that you're investigating. Get to know as much as you can about where you're going into. When I go to a location, I like to sit quietly and just listen for a period of time.
That's important. A lot of people that get into the paranormal that are influenced by other paranormal channels on YouTube pick up bad habits, like turning the camera on them a bit too much, and they're talking to the camera too much because they feel the need that they have to interact with their audience all the time, especially if they go live on their phone. I think with paranormal investigating, it is important to sit there and listen to the environment closely. It's not entertaining the audience and that, and the audience are going, why is he so quiet? Why is he not talking? That is a habit people need to get into, is to sit and listen to the environment, because you go into a location that's reportedly active, or maybe it isn't and reportedly active, and it is active, you can talk over an EVP that can be picked up on the camera. I've done it umpteen times myself in the past. Very important to listen to your environment. Use your ears along with your equipment. You've got senses, use those.
Get to know the sounds of where you're at. Get to know the creaks, maybe the cars driving by, maybe if there's people talking outside. Just get to know the normal sounds and the normal feeling of wherever you're at. That's going to help you during your investigation. It's going to help you debunk certain things. I like to experiment with spirit box a lot.
Oh, now we're talking. Let's see what you got.
I think a lot of it might be pareidolia, but I've definitely had some sessions, and you can check them on this channel, where it's hard to call it anything but one-on-one communication. Definitely one of my favorite radios is the classic Radio Shack, the
12. Oh,
587.
yes, 12-587.
This one I bought, it was already hacked. I've hacked these. I've hacked a couple of them. It's got the nice long aerial on it. And
Here's the thing about that particular radio that I find, and now it's going to be different in different locations. If you put the antenna up too far, you get a lot of bleed over, you know, in the location that I am in. And what I normally do is I get the radio, and I start off the session with the antenna down. You know, I'll start off with the antenna down, and as far as I'm gonna get, and my the best setting I've got is just putting the antenna up one notch like that, and I get less bleed over, and I still get audio kind of thing. I've got two of these. They're hard to get now, you know, but a very good spur box.
they scan a little bit slower. I think the main problem with this radio is sometimes it'll stop scanning.
Yes, I only found out recently. Let me see. I need to turn the light on for this one. Right. When you turn the box on, it was a viewer of mine told me that to do this, and it actually does work. Right, you turn it on with no batteries in it. Damn. Hold on a second. And I could have taken out the other one out of my bag that has batteries in it, because I'm going on a little investigation tonight. But right, here we go. Turn on. Right now, press scan up or down with your thumb on the lock. When you press, just at the moment, that this it starts to scan, right on that second, smack up that lock and lock the radio. And it actually does work. It keeps on scanning. It won't stop. But you have to be sort of right on the button with that one, you know.
And you have to hit it again to scan it. I know a lot of people use these radios. They work. They seem to be a favorite for a lot of people.
I think a lot of people like them because they're not very big. I mean, like, I've got big radios here, you know, and this one is very good actually. But it's very big and it takes up a lot of space. Say if you wanted to travel light, the smaller radios, you know, they're handier. You can put it in your bag. I used to carry around a little small radio all the time because I don't know when I'm actually going to be in a place where I want to do a session or whatever, you know. You know, I could take the odd mad notion when I'm out somewhere else to go and do a session somewhere, you know, and having a small compact radio in your bag, you know, you can do that, you know.
So definitely use those a lot, guys. Here's another one I like to use. This is the 12470.
Yeah, that is the successor to the 469, which was completely white with no speaker. And that was called... Was that the original Hack Shack, I think? But it was the first commercial radio to be hacked as a spurt box, and I think it was hacked by Bill Chappell, I think it was. And the name of the person is gone out of my head at the moment, but I've seen interviews with him where he went down to Radio Shack to get some of these 469s, and there was none left. But there was these 470s, and I said, right, we'll try a couple of those. And that particular person was the first person to hack a 470. There is actually a little bit of difference in that that the 470 is a bit noisier, you know?
This radio came right before this one. It came out before this one. So I think they figured out how to hack this radio first, and then they learned how to hack this one.
I'm nearly sure that the person that hacked the 470 was the one that hacked the 587. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure. But, you know, this is going way back in the day. This is, you know, early 2000s or whatever, but the 469 was the original, the first radio spurt box to be hacked, you know, and very difficult to get them now, you know. They look like a iPod music thing, but they were a radio, you know.
So this was a popular radio for spirit communication for a long time. The 12470 has the built-in speaker. The speaker comes in handy. It's nice to have it built in with you. The 12469, which I don't have, it looks identical to this, but it does not have the built-in speaker. This is a good radio though. It's really noisy, and it scans at a good rate. I like the rate that it scans. And also good to have in your kit are these little plug-in speakers.
Yeah. Sometimes on the little pocket radios, the speaker isn't up to scratch. You know, with those small little add-ons there's a little bit of amplification there, so you can hear it better and stuff.
Come in really handy because sometimes this just doesn't get loud enough. If you're somewhere where there's some kind of noise going on, it's good to amp up the sound with one of these plug-in speakers. I think I paid $5 for this off of eBay.
Yeah, I've got one of these, you know, the hamburger speakers. Small little speaker. You know, it's handy, especially for, say, the 469 that doesn't have a speaker at all.
They work really good. They take 2 AAA batteries, you just plug them in, just like that. It's good to have. It's fun to learn how to hack the radios too. All radios are different when you hack them. Definitely get to learn your radios if you're planning on hacking spirit boxes.
Exactly, because, you know, you'll go on to eBay and find radios that are already hacked, like the Roberts, you know, some of the Roberts radios. And some of the Roberts radios, the radios themselves can be picked up pretty cheaply. But some people will buy them up, hack them, and then sell them as spirit boxes and sell them for, say, 60, 70 pounds, when they picked the radio up for about 15 pounds and all they done was cut a wire. That's what maddens me about paranormal equipment. You know, there is a lot of people just ripping people off. You know, it shouldn't be. You know, a lot of people then would if you done a video showing how to hack radios, some people will just attack you for giving out that information. I've done that with the Timex clock radios, where I know how to hack those, and I've done a few videos on those, because it shouldn't cost you more money than it really needs to be. It's expensive as it is.
This is the cost box.
Ah, bingo!
I really like this.
I've got one of those.
This radio here is small. It fits in your pocket. You don't get, when it scans the stations, you don't get that. You don't get that scanning sound, that chopping sound. It's nice and smooth. It's a smooth transition to the channels for FM and AM. It's a really good box. I've had some really good luck with this box.
Yeah, they were an armband radio that you put on your arm, and that there's no internal speaker, so it was designed to be stick on your arm, and then you put headphones in, and actually the wire from the headphones acts as an antenna as well. So sort of keep in mind when you're using it as a spurt box to possibly have a wire to an external little speaker, just a little bit of something with a little bit of a lead to have a bit of an antenna involved there. The other one was the Jensen armband radio. That actually was used in the Firebox. What was it called? The infamous wooden box that used to overheat and catch fire. I can't remember what it was. But actually the internals, the radio itself, was this little Jensen armband radio.
This is probably my favorite little radio.
Got one of them too.
This is the Sangean DT200V. This is another really, it's got a good noise to it. It's kind of a fuzzy sound, but you can definitely hear the communication really clear when it comes through. Sometimes I plug a external speaker into it. A lot of times with this radio though, I just use the built-in speaker. It works really good.
Yeah, that's another radio that hasn't got an antenna, and it depends on the wire coming off the top of it to an external speaker. But I do have, and you can get them, is a little antenna similar to that, but it's got a 3.5mm jack. That you can plug in on the top, a little 3.5mm jack like that on the end of the antenna, and that you just stick it in where the headphones are, and it will help. You
gotta have the PSB7 in your collection. This is the classic.
Oh God.
Classic. I know there's several different variations of this radio.
That radio was made popular, I think, by Ghost Adventures, and when I started, when it was 2017, I says, right, Ghost Adventures has gone on to the PSP-11. I think, when I'm buying something, I might as well buy the PSP-11. And then Ghost Adventures went back to the PSP-7. This is when I was influenced by anybody I watched. Here's the thing, right? When you pick up a PSP-7 and you've paid your £70 and you take it out of the box and you put it in your hand, it's cheap and plasticky and it's a big disappointment. you'd take it out and you'd open up the thing and you go, oh, flipping out. You know, it's like, it's like, it's like a cheap radio for £70 and it's noisy. I just don't like it. I know there's a magnitude mode for AM and that, but it nearly cuts out everything. You know, I don't. If I was to spend my money again, which I didn't buy these new actually, I bought one of these with another Spurt box actually. I actually think I bought one of them new. Do you know, I think I might have bought one of these new, but it's it's popular with people. People started out with these, you know, I can understand that, but I don't think it's very good value for money though. That's the thing, you know. We can't agree on everything, let's just say.
This happens to be the, I think it's the newer one. You can do the magnitude mode on it. It's kind of a cool feature about this one here. And we also got our cassette recorders. Some people feel that spirit can magnetically imprint their voices on the tape. And that's the deal.
I have one of those and it actually did break. There's something inside that is disconnected. But I have a number of different ones. I do have a Sony one that looks like a camcorder and it's got a microphone up front. I got this too. It's an Olympus S701. You know, it's got these tiny little tapes, you know, and I think they're, what, are they 15 minutes aside? I can't remember. It's a while since I used this one. But yeah, those actually create a little bit of noise between the tape and the and the magnetic part of it. It does cause a little bit of drag and stuff, and that is you know, that can be useful for background audio support for sticking EVPs and stuff like that. You know, it's good to experiment around. You know, Shredder here has now demonstrated a number of different recorders, so he can experiment rather than just sticking to one or two, which is, you know, this is good. Do you know?
With these, some people prefer to use these over digital. Also like using the dowsing rods. A lot of times I'll feel the energy change a lot quicker when I'm using something like a pendulum or dowsing rods, and then I'll switch once I feel that connection. Once I feel that energy, I'll switch over to the spirit box, and they kind of work hand in hand with each other.
It's an old-fashioned, you know, traditional kind of thing to use something like dowsing rods, and yes, I have a set myself. What I find is it's like they're antennas, and when I hold them in my hand, sometimes it's like it's kind of like a little stinging effect on the fingers. I don't know what that's about. I have no idea. I have no idea what it's picking up, but it's picking up something. It's kind of like, it gets a tingling sensation, or it's like the dowsing rods are vibrating at such a rate. You know, not that you can see it vibrating, but you know, something that may be vibrating minutely, but very, very quickly, and it will affect your fingers and stuff. I just find sometimes the dowsing rods to feel a bit weird, and I don't know what it is. You know, maybe they're acting as an antenna and picking up energy. I don't know, but they're interesting.
Also use different external speakers. There's just a Walmart Bluetooth speaker, but it works really good when you plug them into your radio.
Yeah, you see some of these radios that don't have an antenna. This will act as your antenna. This little lead that's coming off here. Do you know? Something like the Cost Box or that other Radio Shack where it doesn't have an antenna. This here will act as the antenna. And, you know, something like that has a good bit of amplification. I use some of these, I have two different kinds of JBLs, you know, and they can be Bluetoothed as well, but, you know, I normally just connect them straight up to the radios and that, and it improves the sounds. Don't think it improves the sound on the 12-587. I think the 12-587, I think just the radio itself and the speaker that it has, it just works just like that. I sometimes connect radios to my system at home here, or I have different effects and stuff. It doesn't work as good for me. Do you know? So just having the 12-587 just on its own is fine, sort of thing, I think. But external speaker, the external speaker always very good. If you're on an investigation and you just want to, if you think you've picked up an EVP on your recorder and that, if you're live, you know, people are going to put it up near the microphone of the camera and play it back. It's always good to sort of bring it home, put it on the computer, and then give people the raw file. But if you're there on the spot, plugging an external speaker into your recorder to play it back, you'll hear it better too, because these little speakers aren't very good. They're not brilliant, you know. So if you get an amplified speaker like that, it's very, very good for little recorders, you know. You've got good stuff, man. And you said this is some of it?
Night vision, when you're recording outside at nighttime, low light settings.
Yeah. I actually have two of those, and I made them into a little case and a little connector down here, so I can slide onto the top of a camera. And I know they're 12 volts, but I connected them to a 9-volt battery. You know, the standard 9-volt batteries that you put into radios and K2 meters and stuff. I find that it runs down the battery pretty quick. But you've got all these? These are all LEDs, do you know? And they actually, you know, because there's so many LEDs, it lights up the area pretty good. But I actually use a rig, and I need to make things light. And actually these are pretty cheap. So I've converted over to using these here, and you'll probably pick it up on camera. There you go. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 20 lights, and you can use just 10 of them, and your battery lasts a little bit longer. Or you can use the whole 20, and then you can also stack them. Or here's another similar one, and you just charge them up with the USB. And here's another one, and because they've got a connector up at the top there, you can stack these. You can use a load of these together, but they are lightweight. But these are very strong. For the money, they're cheap. You can get IR lights, and they're very expensive. These are only a couple of pounds, you know, and you know, they're used for outdoor security cameras and that, to add light to night vision security light. They're very, very strong, they're very robust, and the outer casing of them is metal. They're very, very good, and all you have to do is put a little connector, a little screw connector on the bottom here. When it comes to you, it comes with this plate, and there's just a hole here. You just buy this little connector here and you're good to go. And then there's a wire coming off that. You can connect up your power source to that, you know. But if you're trying to save weight, those other ones might be use as well, you know. I can't remember how much they cost, but they were cheap. They were something like £15 or something like that. Those are cheaper even, but they're actually better quality in build quality. Very good.
A lot of the communication that I've captured throughout the years, it seems to me that the spirits prefer red light or darker light. So if I'm outside or if I'm in a dark building, which usually is the case, I'll definitely use either red light or infrared IR.
IR is, you know, used for night vision, and you know, with our naked eye we're only going to see that. But in IR, that is actually a very powerful light, and you'll see when you turn night vision on that this is an extremely powerful light. But with the naked eye, it's nothing. It's just slightly dimmer than what you can see it on camera. It's just like a red on-off little light that you see on your television. Red light, on the other hand, doesn't interact with ordinary red light, doesn't interact with IR light in the same way as IR bulbs. But if you use red light, somebody was a paranormal investigator had told me that he actually he installs broadband and stuff like that, and sometimes he has to go up into attics and that, and he'll use a red torch, because if the torch shines in his face, red is an easier light to recover from than getting a white light shined into your eyes. Because if you get a white light shined into your eyes have to readjust, and it takes longer. With red light, it's more gentler on the eyes, you know. So I have a couple of red torches as well. It doesn't actually enhance IR, but actually tungsten bulbs do. You know, where we got a tungsten bulb, here we got one. On this camera here, you've got the old-fashioned light, and that actually is a tungsten bulb, like the old-fashioned light bulbs that you would have in your house. They actually tend to help with IR. But LEDs, ordinary LEDs, don't seem to do that. In fact, with an ordinary camera, sometimes they can make the camera flicker. So yeah, but I do a lot of my stuff in IR, and I love it, you know. Can't see it with the naked eye, and then you look to the screen and you can see everything. It's great.
And it's good to have some headlamps in your kit. This light here has got the red light feature on it.
Oh, that seemed to have the IR light there. That's actually pretty cool. Because I do have headlamps, but they're just white light. That seems to have IR on each side. That's flipping handy, actually. That would save one or two extra lights being put on my rig. Because I have to try and keep the rig light. I have to, you know, lightweight. Because I'm carrying it around with me. That's actually quite handy, actually. I might look into something like that.
This works good. So yeah, guys. Also like to use the bigger radios too.
Oh, people keep teasing me with that radio, and I can't get one. I've got umpteen different radios. I've got flipping piles of them. Could never get this radio, and this radio seems to be clean enough too. It's a pretty good radio.
This is definitely one of my favorites. If you check out some of the other videos on this channel, you'll get to see this radio, and a few of the videos have had some really interesting communication on these. And we got the...
Oh, that's familiar because I got one. And I'll tell you where I got it in a minute.
This is the 808. This is the Optimus. Another nice sounding radio. I see these for sale on eBay sometimes. Check out Wagner ITC.
Bingo! That's where I got mine. Yeah, I've got the sticker down here. I don't know where his channel went actually, because I've been looking for it. I know he changed the name of the channel, but now I think he's disappeared altogether because I cannot find his channel for anything. But he actually is quite reasonable. If you're in the US, it is even more reasonable. But, you know, despite having shipping and import costs, you know, his pricing was actually, you know, wasn't bad. He wasn't, you know, he didn't rip you off or anything. He's quite good, you know. And the 808 is pretty good. You got some good equipment there, I have to say.
If you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a, you know, on a spirit box, definitely, or like a portal or something ridiculous like that, go check out Wagner ITC, and I'm sure he can hook you up. I use this little GoPro a lot. I have it on a tripod right now, but I like the size of that. You know, it's small. It's the Session 5. And yeah, guys, I think your best tool for research is definitely going to be knowledge.
Some people would say, you know, oh, the best tool you have is your camera or this and that. For somebody to say knowledge, you know somebody, you know he knows what he's doing, you know? You know, that's an interesting answer to that question, actually.
So I got a lot of reference books that I read. You know, definitely into a lot of literature. A lot of old literature. Jane Revere Burke is one I've been reading. This book's called Messages on Healing. It's supposed to be channeled material.
Right.
The Unknown As It Nears, one I'm reading right now. It's really interesting. Raymond Buckland. If you haven't heard of Raymond Buckland, I suggest checking him out. And The Guide to the Supernatural is another one that I've been reading. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's very good, you know, very good to have some books and stuff like that. I have a number of different books from Annabella Cardoso in relation to ITC, and a couple of other ones in relation to the paranormal and stuff like that, you know. Good to have some books. You're not going to get all your knowledge from YouTube. And sometimes you can be given a lot of misinformation, especially when it comes to the paranormal. Let's just face it, paranormal on YouTube is very, it's a minefield out there. It's like finding a needle in a haystack to get good information. And very often the good information is really old videos, and they're really hard to find, you know. So books are good.
Yeah, guys. Well, thanks for checking it out,
and thanks for showing us some of your equipment. That was flipping fascinating.
Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to use on your investigations. And yeah, you have a good night. We'll see each other soon.
That was interesting, actually, and you know, there is a variety of different spirit boxes, and there's a variety of different recorders, and some are more suited to certain locations, and you know, some are not, kind of thing. But you've got that span of variety in order to experiment. And, you know, more and more people need to do EVP. A lot of people just depend on scanning radio ghost boxes. I think more and more people need to do EVP, including myself, you know. But a good collection of stuff there. I wish he would keep uploading onto this channel, because it has an extremely solid base for good paranormal stuff. Honest sessions, no jumping to conclusions. Seems to know exactly what he's doing. I seen another video there where he was volunteering in a historic place or whatever and doing tours and stuff, and so, you know, he was able to build knowledge that way, and it's really, really good, you know. But I'm going to leave it for now because my battery is starting to run out, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Really, really interesting stuff. Thank you.